Questions? Seeing none, thanks for your testimony.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have Kevin Tuttle. And on deck, we have Alice Cheney and Maxine Learned.
Why am I not surprised that a chiropractor wrote this bill? That is awesome. Just a big shout out to my chiropractor, Joel Kirchberg, Riverview Chiropractic in Watertown, keeping me alive, keeping me thriving. So thank you, Joel. Thank you, board, for hearing us today. My testimony is not sponsored by Pfizer. My name is Kevin Tuttle, and I'm here in support of SB 336. Discrimination is wrong, and coercion is illegal. Didn't we just go through a recent summer of peaceful protests where buildings were destroyed, cars lit on fire, and people murdered to prove a point that discrimination is wrong? I'm sure all Democrats on this board approved of that peaceful destruction. It is atrocious when discrimination and coercion are encouraged due to someone not injecting experimental gene therapy mRNA vaccines that don't prevent transmission or infection. No one in America has received the FDA-approved Comirnaty, as it is not available anywhere in the U.S. I wonder if doctors provide this type of informed consent to patients. Interestingly, stats show that about 72% of blacks are not getting these jabs. Remember how doctors, scientists, and the government helped those in the Tuskegee experiment? If you don't vote to approve these bills that prohibit discrimination, you are a bigot toward unvaccinated black folks. Health is an individual responsibility, as we don't get sick as a public or well as a public. Take care of your health and stop demanding others do it for you. Our bodies do not belong to the government, to our employers, or to any business. Personally, I believe my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and what I put into it is something that only I will decide. I have an immune system that God created, and I don't want to be in your cult of vaccinism. This isn't following the science, it's following the funding. No one who gets these jabs can say what will happen to them a day, month, or even 5 years down the line. If one elects to be foolish and inject something made by convicted criminals, both Pfizer and J&J have a long, sordid history of criminal conduct with well over $10 billion paid in fines, alone since 2000, for that conduct. Well, we shouldn't discriminate against them either. We should help these people by encouraging them to seek counseling for their fear. It is not my responsibility to appease medical bigots by using my body as an experiment. Even if these jabs prove to be the best thing ever created, and we know they're not, as has been mentioned numerous times here, we have over 1 million adverse events and 21,000 deaths after this vaccine, which is more in a year than all vaccines combined in the history of theirs. I would still choose not to inject it because I believe it's an abomination to God. And historically, theirs is only 1% of the actual numbers, as was also discussed earlier. How can anyone with any morals think that a research industry utilizing the slaughter of innocent unborn babies, whose organs are ripped from them while they are alive without anesthesia, that God would approve of this? Remember, thou shalt not kill. I serve God, not man, not government, and certainly not big pharma. Everyone has the choice to allow themselves to be part of the phase 3 clinical trials that anyone who takes these jabs is entered into. I won't discriminate against those people and who can't reason and have little critical thinking skills. So I ask that you support those of us who know the disgusting history of fraud, racketeering, bribery, and otherwise that Big Pharma excels in, and elect not to be their lab rats. The fact that Big Pharma funds the NIH, FDA, CDC, and many other government agencies should preclude government from having any voice in telling me what I need to do with my body to suit pharma's financial gains. Remember, you will never be fully vaccinated. I ask that you vote in support of these bills unless you support discrimination. Unvaccinated lives matter. If I could address Senator Carpenter, I did want to mention that you hit all the keywords. You got conspiracy theory, deplorable, 900,000 dead due to Republicans, lack of scientific knowledge, President Trump, and reputable medical professionals. You didn't say anti-vaxxer. I'm an anti-vaxxer, so I'll get that one out of your way. I commend you for hitting all these. You know, why are we here, though? I thought Joe Biden was going to stop the virus. This is what he campaigned on. How's that going? Let's look at why 900,000 people have died. We have a lack of early treatment. It is well known that hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, budesonide, and other treatments that the CDC had approved, FDA had approved, have for some reason been classified as dangerous drugs after being on the market for 50, 70 years, whatever, with ivermectin actually winning a Nobel Prize. Interesting, isn't it? We have medical professionals putting people on remdesivir, which damages the kidneys and liver, then putting them on vents and killing them. This is their protocol. This is what Anthony Fauci tells them to do. And why is that? Well, bear in mind, Fauci funded the gain-of-function research that he keeps lying to Congress about and somehow remains a free man. And now he directs how the country responds. Let's look at how the country has been, since Fauci has been in his position for the last 700 years, has the country gotten any healthier? We've gotten sicker as a nation. We have the sickest kids we've ever had. Fauci is also responsible for the AIDS epidemic. He used AZT, a dangerous drug that every patient who went on died from. The only ones who didn't die immediately were the ones that Fauci decided they're going to get blood transfusions and we're going to keep them alive a little bit longer. He's also a racist after experimenting on black and brown orphans in New York and killing dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of these orphans. And this is the man you all idolize? That's crazy. Additionally, polio. Polio was DDT poisoning. If you look at the trajectory of DDT use in the United States and its cessation, it is the exact same trajectory as polio. The polio vaccine comes out at the end of this, and it gets all the credit for stopping polio. It's our miracle. There is a lot of propaganda out there, and unfortunately many people believe it. We even have a Supreme Court justice who said that 100,000 kids are in ICUs on ventilators. She's only off by about 96,500 kids in ICUs. As for the mask, it's a whoopee, it's a blankie. I've seen the insanity of taking a mask off to speak and then putting it back on, going into a restaurant. If this were a restaurant, nobody'd be wearing a mask sitting down, then they stand up to put it on. This is lunacy. I was reading in Matthew the other day, chapter 9, verse 36. I won't quote it, but you can look it up. But basically, it's Jesus looking out over the multitudes who followed him. And he had compassion on them because they were like lost sheep. And as frustrating as it is in Dane County to look around and see all the masked people and all the people who are chastising us for not getting vaccinated, I'm trying to have compassion, and I do have compassion on their fear. But I would recommend everyone gets a copy of The United States of Fear. It's a great book to talk about the mass delusional psychosis that this country is in and the world is in. Thank you.
Senator Carpenter.
You know what's coming. I'll try and respect what you had to say, but I wholeheartedly disagree with you. I was first elected to the legislature in 1985 when the AIDS epidemic came up, and I understand if you want to live in a fantasy world and come up with interpretations or conspiracies and distorting the facts. It's just embarrassing when I hear it from someone who says these type of things. If you want to talk about how this all started, it was because of the conspiracy theories of Donald Trump, one of the most lying, despicable, crooked presidents in the United States. So if you're talking about President Biden and raising those questions, a lot of these things, like you're talking about liability for the drugs, that was President Trump. And he continues to lie and lie even when he first got elected. I won't go into the election part, but the big lie that somehow the election was stolen. It wasn't. Get over it. You lost. And so I'm simply saying when you're...
I don't support President Trump because he keeps talking about the vaccines. I'm just letting you know. You're attacking me as if I'm a huge Trump
attacking me
supporter.
about things also. So at least have the manlyhood to listen to what I have to say after I listen to what you have to say.
The manlyhood.
Yes, what you call?
I'm a former U.S. Air Force officer.
As a level decorum, Senator Carpenter has the floor.
Have you served?
What was that?
Have you served?
Have I served?
In the military. I'm a former officer, and you're talking to me about my manlyhood.
Okay,
I fought in Afghanistan.
I was discriminated against because I'm gay. I could not serve in the military. I signed up for selective service. But bigots that are out there, it's amazing how people are all of a sudden, like you said, about black and brown people. I represent my zip code had the highest percentage of Latinos testing positive, people that died from COVID. They were on ventilators, 24 ventilators in the hospital I was born at. So all of a sudden, you have some compassion and care for people that are black or brown. What happened about the Affordable Health Care Act? If anything has been proven because of COVID, is because certain people that are in power, like President Trump, who tried to eliminate the Affordable Health Care Act, that would have provided health care coverage for them. Their outcomes because of COVID, the cases are a lot higher for people of minority status, people that are marginalized. So you can talk all about your God that you believe in, and I'm not going to challenge that. But when you challenge and say, I'm a bigot, and infer that I'm a bigot, and talk about discrimination, I'll be glad to debate you till the dogs come home about what discrimination had happened in the past.
All right, I think we've probably come to a conclusion on this testimony.
Yeah.
Are there any
Well,
further?
you can only have so much bullshit from people.
Senator Carpenter, I can understand, it's been a long day. We got passions that are running high, and
Well, don't challenge me. Don't lie.
I
haven't said one lie.
Oh, yeah.
all right, well, Kevin, we appreciate your testimony. And again, if I can remind individuals, if we can keep testimony germane to the bill, we still have a lot of people to go through yet today. And I would like all of us to get out of here in a timely manner, if humanly possible. What we're going to do, as I said at the start of this, we have a lot of activity going on here in the building, a lot of different committees going on. We're going to take a quick pause on Senate Bill